Welcome back to Coffee with Closers. Today we have a real estate developer here with us. We're going to break into some of the major challenges that he faced when he started his real estate development business and hopefully drop some knowledge so that way if you're thinking about doing this kind of business, you know exactly what to expect and what challenges you're going to face as you build this business up. So let's dive right into the video. Welcome to Coffee with Closers. In this series, we interview top real estate producers that are out there making big things happen in the real estate industry. That way you can learn from their failures and their big wins so you can start winning more in your real estate business. Welcome to the video. We have Christian here. If you want to find him on Instagram, it's Method Invest. But Christian, let's break down some of the things that you struggled with or faced when you started this business model, because it's a business that's a little risky, and a lot of people don't get into it because it takes a lot of capital and there's a lot of things that could go wrong. So why don't you tell us about some of the struggles that you faced when you started this business up?
Yeah, so basically, I did have a different route of getting into this business. I had a mentor, you know what I mean? I had someone that, brought me on, and I was basically just doing videos for this person,
Wow.
So at one point, and then I wanted to invest, and I had already had a couple multi-families and stuff like that. I had rental income coming in. I would say that my route wasn't like a traditional route for this, but if I could say some of the difficulties or challenges with becoming a developer would probably be like just information, right? The lack of information. So just surrounding yourself around someone that really knows the game and see how you can bring value to them so they could teach you. There really isn't too many there's not too much information out there, like on YouTube or anywhere, on how to do this,
Yeah.
So it's like we're actually planning on coming out with a course too.
Smart.
So that we can teach people how to do this, because there's a lot that goes into it. So for example, every town and city is different, right?
Yes.
But like I like to focus a lot on Providence because I actually downloaded the PDF book of zoning ordinance and all that.
Huge,
and I've just read it, studied it, and I've realized what different zones mean, what's the minimum square footage so you can build a house on it, what are the setbacks, so what size house you can put on it, right? But this is also stuff that a surveyor can tell you,
Yes.
But it is always nice to learn it yourself, because you can go look at a lot and see if you can actually put an offer in on it, and not wait for a surveyor to come tell you if it's actually buildable, because time is money, and there's going to be someone that's going to get on that lot, put in the offer, and next thing you know, it's sold.
Speed kills deals.
Exactly. So knowledge, like just continue, find all the information you can everywhere to try to learn. Get a good site guy, surveyor that could come in, help you out, teach you a little bit too. Get a good blueprint guy, like an architect. There's designers as well. Depending on what city you're in, you can go with a designer or you can go with an actual architect.
Okay.
Basically, just making sure, because I have an internal team now, like we're 5 guys, but I do sub a lot of the stuff out, so basically getting the right subcontractors out there, that's big, like not giving them too much money up front, staggering it in stages, because some people will give them too much money and then they won't even show up for like a week or 2, you know what I mean?
That's bad.
Yeah, so it's like time is money. You have to make sure that you be fair with them. You understand that there's costs to materials, concrete, all that kind of stuff, right? But you got to understand to make sure you stagger things right. Contracts are important. Handshake is a great thing, but contracts, just so everybody feels safe, peace of mind.
Yes.
But if there's one thing that we've learned, you got to make your contracts airtight too, because if you make a contract and there's a bunch of gray areas, you could run into some troubles. So this is all lessons that we've learned after building 8 houses. So I total houses I built is 8.
Okay.
Yep. So I built 8 houses. But yeah, basically that's some of the challenges, just dealing with contractors and then aligning everything up, right? So just a quick little summary. In order for you to even start building a new development, it takes about a month for permitting.
Wow. Okay. So that's pretty much dead time. So if you bought the deal, you have capital tied up into it, that's pretty much dead capital for a month.
Yeah.
So you have to figure that out. Now, would you suggest using hard money to get started, or would you suggest, What ways have you seen? Because that's one of the biggest hurdles that people face is how do you get started with something like this because it's so capital intensive?
Yeah, so the cool thing is that we do use private money, hard money, private money,
Okay.
but they have construction loans. So the construction loans are different than an actual, like if you were to go buy a flip and now you're paying interest that first month on $300,000, you know?
Yeah.
Like for us, you know, it's like, you know, high interest as well, but it's we only get interest charged for what we're using.
I gotcha. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it's
That's
like
good.
in the beginning, we're not paying any interest. You know what I mean? Like they might give us a quick check for like 30,000, you know, to get going at closing, right? When we close.
Okay.
So we could get going and stuff like that. But we also have our capital, our reserves to be able to just not have to wait for that check. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's really, it's almost like a line of credit.
It's almost like a line of credit, exactly.
That's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes a
so
lot of sense.
Yeah, because you're not paying so much juice in the beginning, you know. But at
Yep.
the end, that's when you gotta really like, all right, let's get the drywall in, because now we're up to like maybe 200,000 or somewhere around there, whatever. You're paying juice on all of that money right there. So
It's all compounded.
exactly. So it's very key and important. So once you get the drywall up, get the finish done. The finish is where most people struggle.
Okay.
And so getting the finish done and then getting the certificate of occupancy.
Okay, that makes sense. And now, what challenges have you faced as far as getting contractors? Because I know that's a big hurdle for a lot of people, and you get guys that don't show up or they do hacked up work. Like, what has been your biggest, tip or key to success in finding people that actually show up and do quality work at an affordable price that gives you enough margin to make it work?
Yeah, I would say, oh man, and it's tough because even till today, there's sometimes certain situations where we don't, like someone, you get somebody a deposit and like, it might take them a week or two to get there. It's really just feeling out the person, having, like when you meet up with that person, having someone trusted on your team to also be there and kind of pick up on things like, hey, he said this, he said that, it's very key. Asking them for their previous work, what they're working on now, stuff like that, a little resume. And like, luckily, I mean, in Providence, in Rhode Island, it's a very small place. So like, if you're ripping people off, it's gonna get around quick. So that's why what we do, we love to stand by our work. We love to, do the right thing. If you cut corners, it's gonna come back to bite you at the end. So it's not good to do that. But as far as finding the right contractors, it's really just asking them about, hey, like, what are you working on now? How much have you worked on? Just stuff like that, questions like that. Man, it's a struggle. It's a struggle.
I can imagine, and I've heard that from house flippers too. When they get involved with contractors, they go in there, they do they do work that's not up to par, and then they have to get someone else to come in and do that same work over again, and they might have already paid that person a deposit of 50% or 25%, whatever that might look like. That money's just gone. Yeah. Because they're not going to give it back.
Exactly, right? Exactly. And so that's another thing too. Like, I'd like to make sure that I give them a deposit and like them start within 1 or 2 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right.
If not that same day.
That makes sense.
So yeah, like the money's there. Don't worry about it. The money's there. If you show up, boom, you get a check. You know what awesome. I mean? And we stagger it like 25%, 25%, 25%. And
So you break the work down into quarters, and then you say, hey, first quarter is going to be X amount, which is 25% of the total amount. Mm-hmm. And then you just, once they get to the next milestone, you kind of give them a little bit more, and then more and more and more. And then you probably buy the materials up front for them, right?
Exactly.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
That's smart. That's good, because the last thing you want is to hire someone, you pay them the upfront amount, and they don't come back. There's no incentive at that point.
There is no incentive, and they will not. They will just be right on the other job.
On to the next job.
On to the next job. And it's unfortunate, but that's why you have to be able to have those hard conversations. Like, cause some of them will be, oh, I need 50% up front. Well, I mean, you know what? Hey, listen, maybe down the line we could work something out once we have a relationship, and you have to have those hard conversations with them. It's business at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So it's like nothing against you, and I'm not saying that you're gonna do this, but in the past, there's certain things that happen. How about we agree on something a little less?
Makes total sense. And then once you get down the road, they do this with you for 3 years or so. Mm-hmm. You might bump it up to 30 or 40% to make the guy, happy with what he's doing and so on and so forth. But when you first start out, you recommend the lowest amount possible
Absolutely.
to get them on the job and then break it into little portions so they don't walk away and not come back.
Exactly. And so here's another thing too, right? So when you do find the right contractor, the right person, the right people, treat them nice, treat them good, make sure that when they're done, their check is right there. That's one thing with us. It's like, they know that once their job is complete, they can have a check right there.
I like it.
I can drive, like I could be somewhere else in a meeting, maybe they finished up, and there's been days where I drive to Massachusetts to give them a check. I'm calling my guys.
That's
like,
huge.
Hey, don't you want a check? Like, here, I got your check. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
awesome.
Like, usually it's the other way around.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's a good thing.
So when they work with you and they see that you're like, oh, whoa, he wants to pay me. Like, he wants to meet up with me right now to pay me.
That's awesome.
That builds that trust with them, and they're like, that's where you start building the relationships where they're like, you know what? There's these other 2 jobs that I could pick up, but with Christian, I know that I could get my money like this. You know what I mean? So
that's huge. Yeah. That is huge. So any other pieces of knowledge or tips you want to drop that we didn't cover in the segment?
I mean, I think
pretty good scope on it. Okay, awesome. So if you have any other questions, definitely follow him on Instagram. It's Method Invest. He's a real estate developer. He's only 28 years old and he's in the game doing some big things. So if you're looking to get into this game, definitely go ahead, give him a follow on Instagram. He has a nice platform that's set up there and he's always dropping content. So
I appreciate that.
Check that out. And if you have any other questions, drop them in the comment section below and we'll do everything we can to get back to you and get answers for those questions. So thanks so much for tuning in. If you like real estate content for real estate entrepreneurs, hit the like button and subscribe.